did want to ask you about Chelsea as well today, because have you seen that stat? 39 points from their last 37 games. They say 40 points is the target. So if they get a point in the next match, they've just done enough in the last 38 games to not get relegated. I don't know if you've looked at it, but their next run of Premier League games, Steve, is interesting to say the least, right? Let me just get this up on my screen here, because I'm not even trying here to make them panic or worry. But I know what your thoughts are on the manager, right? But they go home to Villa, away to Fulham, away to Burnley, home to Arsenal, home to Brentford, away to Tottenham, home to City, away to Newcastle, home to Brighton, away to Manchester United. That takes them up to the 6th of December. I think away to Burnley haven't been that good since they've come up. They haven't clicked yet. But all the other games, I honestly don't. If they don't start scoring, if they don't score, of course they're not going to win. That's like a moronic thing to say. But they could go a long time without winning. They really could.
Yeah, see, the Premier League's not. It's not forgiving, is it? You know what I mean? The one thing they need is time, because putting all them players together, he needs to get it to gel. You see glimpses every now and then in the game where you think, yeah, they look all right, but then I don't know about Jackson up front. I don't know about him. I'll be honest. I've watched him a few times. I didn't want to say much about him, but I don't know if he's the answer. I think Chelsea need a striker desperately, because I don't know. Like I said last show, when I speak about Chelsea, I just don't have any feelings there, because I honestly don't know what the answer is. I know that they've thrown a lot of good players together. They've got a manager that everyone keeps telling me is great with young kids, but that's about it. And so I don't know. We'll see at the end of the season with Chelsea for me. But so far, for that kind of level of investment, it's not doing what it should, and people are letting them off. If Man United wasn't in such a sad state, everyone would be on them like fuck. They'd be on Chelsea. But because United are just like the new circus that's rolled into town, everyone's sat watching that. But if United can level off and start putting some results together, the next target is Chelsea, because it ain't good over there at the minute.
You are right. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, this shows you the difference in size, and this isn't a dig. I just Googled Manchester United. 14.1 billion results in 0.59 seconds. Chelsea, when you search that, 226 million. So the difference in terms of just people Googling and looking and the content that's out there, it probably is helping Chelsea at the moment that Man United are struggling, because otherwise they'd be the only member of the traditional Big Six that were really going through it. What's interesting is in the summer, I saw Spurs playing good football, and that has continued into the season. I thought Chelsea looked pretty good at times in pre-season. I was impressed with them. And it hasn't really, they played well against Liverpool and didn't win. They played well in moments against West Ham and got beat. They were good against Luton. But then against Forest and against Bournemouth, the best team, but just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Again, I'm a Man United fan, so I'm not worried on a personal level. But when I'm talking football, if they suddenly drop more points to Villa, get knocked out by Brighton in the League Cup, which is in the midweek game, go away to Fulham, their local rivals, and lose, they might then beat Burnley. After the Burnley game, they play Arsenal, Brentford, Tottenham, They could lose those 4 games on the bounce if they're not scoring goals. My worry is that more and more confidence gets sapped from these young players. Last season's poor form after the sacking of Tuchel has continued into this year. And if you suddenly get towards December and you haven't improved on that, there is a fundamental chance that you just don't get out of that rut. The fans will turn on the manager. They've already started to do that. There'll be no time and patience given. These young players will just be with no elder statesmen around them, not enough elder statesmen around them to lead them. I'm not saying they're in big trouble right now, because they could win the next 2 or 3 games, turn things around. The young players come alive. Poch gets his football going, and they look great. I would be worried, though, if I was a Chelsea fan. There would be a part of me that would just be a little bit worried, because it's starting to look like last year again. And maybe this isn't an issue with managers. I'm talking about my club. To go through maybe 3 managers in a year when the same issues are persisting, it tells you there's something deeper. There's a deeper rooted problem than maybe some of us have given Chelsea's managers or ex-managers credit for, if that makes sense. But yeah, look, they could win some of those games. They could win 3 or 4 of them, and suddenly you're thinking, okay, Chelsea are on their way to being back. But those games are tough. And that's why when you get Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest back to back, you've got to win them, because they're the gimmies. And if you're not winning the gimmies, those other games, there's so much more pressure on them. And like right now, honestly, if I'm doing a prediction, I think Villa beat them at the weekend. I really do think Villa will beat them. And that's not me trying to be salty. I just look at Villa, who, look, they're not been, it's just, Villa are so much better than Forest and Bournemouth, if that makes sense. You know, they've got 3 wins this season. They're sitting 7th in the league, you know, and they've played well in a few games. Battered Palace, battered Burnley, battered Everton. Yes, they got smashed. They've been beaten convincingly twice themselves by really good teams. But Chelsea are not a really good team anymore. It's they play Sunday, 2:00. It's going to be a real tough one for them. Real tough one. It's time.
They're in a sort of situation where Arsenal was a few years ago, where it was like, you know, they're on the verge of panicking again. I think I can see it now. You know what I mean? If they lose another 2 or 3 games, will Todd Bowley panic? Because they panic with Graham Potter, so they could panic with him. I don't think changing the manager is the answer. I think he's brought in, I said it before, a lot of players. He needs time. Time is the key. And I think if the Chelsea fans accept that and think, you know what, we might have another season where we're mid-table, but then next season is the one. There's no excuses, and I think that's what it is. I think a lot of Chelsea fans, they're not as bad as like Arsenal fans and that, or Tottenham fans, where they'd be demanding stuff. I think Chelsea can be. Some of them can be realistic. They look at the club, it's a massive change from Roman days. The money's been spent, but it's the rest of the football world that should be on the neck going, hold on a minute. You spent £1 billion. You can't be telling us you need time, because if City spent another bill, or Newcastle went and spent £1 billion and was ending up like this, they'd be calling for them. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, I think Chelsea are just at the minute. It's time, get the players gelling, but I think they're short of a striker.
Yeah, putting that, but again, I do agree. I think it's putting the ball in the back of the net, and they have the same issue Man United have got now. When something goes wrong in the game, those heads drop, the shoulders go down, they all stop. They stop playing to a certain degree, and we've seen that now. 3 managers running. That's a problem that's in that dressing room that so far Poch hasn't got out. And I really did believe. I know that you're not the biggest Poch fan, nor am I, in terms of getting teams over that line. But I really felt that he would have got their confidence back in them, got the blood back in their legs, got them moving the ball well. The way Anne just kind of turned the football around at Tottenham, I expected to see that from Poch. I really did.
Do you know what as well, yeah? There's a lot of managers who are still in jobs because there's nobody else out there good enough. And that's the truth. You look now, there's a distinctive lack of good managers across Europe. If Man United sack Ten Hag tomorrow, realistically, yeah, who are they getting? If Chelsea sack Poch tomorrow, realistically, who are they getting? There's only De Zerbi at Brighton, who everybody rates, who we've been down this road before. He'd be mad to jump ship now because he's creating something at Brighton. Potter was in the same boat as De Zerbi. Everybody was raving about him. He jumped ship. Look at him now. He's in no man's land. And I think that's what you do. To be having meetings at boardrooms saying, right, okay, we've lost 3 games. Should we sack him? Well, yeah, but who are we going to go for? And then you look at the ones, but you look at the level of management around, and there's literally like nobody there. There's nobody there.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, when you think about realistically, Zidane don't want to come and live and work in England. Why is Ancelotti going to quit Real Madrid? He's not going to do it for Chelsea or for Man United. Diego Simeone, again,
he never leaves.
He wouldn't leave. He's someone that maybe you could tempt. But outside of those managers, who is a proven elite manager that you go, I think we definitely improve under him? And a lot of people are saying De Zerbi. Chelsea right now, that they're trying to build something. But the way Chelsea are run right now, their infrastructure, the harmony internally, Man United internally, Brighton a better run club. Brighton, pound for pound.
There's no pressure on De Zerbi. There was no pressure on Potter at Brighton, right? So they can relax. If they lose a game, relax. If they want to try something in a game and it doesn't work, relax. Go to Man United, go to Chelsea, lose a game, pressure. Try something in a game, get beat, pressure. Shit's hit the fan. I've lost 2, lose 3, you're out. And that's the problem. And that's why these managers like you as Potter now, you're probably thinking, worst thing he ever did, leave Brighton, because he was comfortable there. But De Zerbi would be mad. He needs to, he's creating something special at Brighton. They're playing great football. He gets his best players took off him every season. The big clubs come, they grab Caicedo, Cucurella, all these people, bang, 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 and but he's working with what he's got, and the players are believing in it. And eventually he'll be one of the top managers in the world, in my opinion. But right now, he needs to stay where he is. And looking around Europe, there's nobody that fills me full of confidence who I think, yeah, he could come to the Premier League and smash it.
Yeah, I agree with you. The pressure element is so key. I was having this conversation with my brother and his friends the other day, and that none of them support Premier League teams, and they were saying, go get De Zerbi. And a lot of them in that group were just saying, come on, this is like almost crazy talk from the perspective of, you do realize the pressure, the difference. Because I truly believe if you went now with a magic wand and took every Brighton player and put them in the Man United squad and put De Zerbi as our manager and switched it round, I believe within 2 months, the Man United players that we all right now say are trash and the manager ain't good enough, they'd be playing much better football and performing better than this Man United team would be. I don't think it's as easy as just switching managers. There's key fundamental factors internally that I think need to be worked on. But as you say, there's little patience for it. We have a super chat here.